Ruth is away, not feeling well today, and we wish her the best and hope she gets back healthy as soon as possible. We're going to kind of change our agenda just a little bit today to allow technical difficulties that we've been having with our equipment here to hopefully it all works. So we're going to start with Tom Judson for our annual orientation for committee members. And so, Tom,
Thank you.
You take it away.
So this is for new committee members, but also returning committee members to make sure that they're all educated on the role of the committees. Okay, and we just gave this same presentation to the Lakes Committee that was earlier today at 2 o'clock, and we'll do the same one for the Recreation Committee on Monday. So, Dave, if you could scoot to the side just in case, thank you. All the way to the next county would be great. Okay.
Get my big head out of the way.
So first of all, fun fact, we have 50 dedicated volunteers that serve on between the boards and the committees, and we couldn't make this happen without that participation, so we really appreciate it. This is going to be kind of a whirlwind tour, and if you have any questions, you can ask those at the end. But the purpose of the JCs is to provide advice and recommendations to the management team and the board of directors. We value your input. This is part of our governing process, the board of directors and then the committees. It's all part of our governance, so we very much appreciate what you guys do. The structure is the JEC reports to the board of directors. So this is not a situation where the JEC reports to management or anything like that. It is you report independently to the board of directors. You have liaisons. We have 2 of our liaisons here from the board of directors, and their job is to be intermediaries between the committees and the board. It's not their job to run the committee meeting. They're not at the head of the table. They shouldn't consume a tremendous amount of time. They're the silent intermediary that works with them. We want their input, but they shouldn't overshadow the committees. In addition to the liaisons, you're going to have management representatives. So you have Kyle here today in place of Graham. We have Daryl, myself, you have Alex, and we're here to give you reports and to interact with the committee and make sure that we get your input and so forth. We're required to assign at least 1, but in most cases we'll have 3 or 4, and 4 in this case. And I forgot to include Jessica back here, sorry. Each month, the JECs, the chair will report to the board of directors. So they attend the board meeting and report. And if they're not able to make it, Ruth is usually able to make it, but if they're not able to make it, then they'll send us a summary and we provide that summary. In addition, the board liaisons may provide additional context to the board. So that way the board is aware of what's going on and is knowledgeable. Advisory. So the board of directors and management, we put a tremendous amount of value on the recommendations from the committee, but the committee is an advisory committee. It's even in the name, Joint Advisory Committee. And we emphasize that because every once in a while, committees will overreach. But most of the time, probably 99% of the time, the board of directors is 100% in alignment with the committees. But every once in a while, a committee will overreach, and we have to reference that you are an advisory committee. You do not have what we'd call as adjudicatory powers. So that's different. The board does, but the committees do not. And through these, I'm also giving you references to the actual policies that are in our governing documents. So if you wanted to do additional research on your own, you could go do that. So in this case, I'm referencing policy 1.04. The recording of the meeting, so you haven't been to our meetings. We have cameras at multiple locations. We have microphones and so forth. Chris from our marketing department is behind that glass, and he's actually the producer and he switches the cameras and so forth. He turns microphones on and off and so forth. So you're being recorded during this meeting. We're transparent as possible. And so just be aware that you're being recorded, and sometimes, occasionally, not always, occasionally, a committee member will grandstand because they're in front of a camera. So just be aware. You don't want to use any foul language, not that you would, but you just, you're on camera and it's being recorded and it's on our website. We have 7-8 years worth of recordings on our website. So if you said something inappropriate, well, it's going to be there a long time. So just be aware. The meetings are open to the membership. We have several members of our community here in attendance, and that's outstanding. So these meetings are open. The only time that they would be potentially closed is if you have a subcommittee. So a really good example is several years ago, the Lakes Committee wanted to have a subcommittee do a deep dive on wake boats. And so they said, you 4 committee members, we want you to do a deep dive, we want you to research. Those meetings can be non-public, they can be privately held, but no decisions can be made by the subcommittee. They can make recommendations, but they can't make decisions, and they have to report back to the committee and provide their recommendations. So this is an option for this committee. It doesn't happen that often, but those meetings can be private, but all other ones must be open to the membership with minutes held and so forth. Community input. You're not only representing yourself in these committee meetings, you're also representing all the different golf groups that you participate in. So talk to your fellow group members and get their input, and so share that input. We want to branch out, and we want that interaction with the community, because that's the information we want them to bring. And you bring it to Daryl and say, hey, I've been talking to my golf group and we have a concern about this, Daryl, and let's talk about it and let's work through it. So don't just represent yourself, represent your group of friends. Member forum. So at each meeting, we allow our members, we have a microphone there, they're able to come up, they're able to talk and address the committee, and we encourage that. Now, we do put limits on it, is that we want them to limit their comments to 3 minutes, and Jessica actually has a timer over here, and 99% of the time, if a person puts their thoughts together, they can usually get it, all those thoughts expressed in 2 minutes, let alone 3 minutes. Now, when the person comes up, it's really them talking to the committee, then they sit down and then the committee addresses it. Often what will happen is they'll assume that it's a debate or a question and answer and so forth, and then you can run into going over the 3 minutes. We really just want to allow the member to say their piece, and then we'll address it at that time, because we have to be careful. What happens sometimes is someone comes up and they're really jovial, they're saying really nice stuff, and we'll give them more than 3 minutes, and then someone comes up and they have some criticism, and man, they hit the 3 minute mark and we're going to cut you off immediately. That's not good. That's favoritism. We want to make sure everybody gets an equal voice. So even if they're saying something really nice, we want to cut them off at 3 minutes, because no perception of any favoritism. Any handouts that are given out during the meeting are open to everybody that attends. We don't want to, here, this handout is just for you and so forth. No. Anything that's distributed during the meeting is open to everybody. Transparency. Meeting length. We try and encourage the committees to limit their meetings to 1 hour. Occasionally the meetings will go longer, but we really encourage you to limit it to 1 hour. In most cases, an efficiently run meeting, you can absolutely get all your information done in an hour. Areas of concern. This is the golf committee. So if you come in and you start talking about you were fishing the other day and you were on your boat and you had an issue on the lakes, no. That's not an area of concern for the golf committee. We also want to be cognizant, we're not going to talk about the financial aspects of golf, because that's the domain of the board of directors. We're not going to talk about amenity pricing. That's the domain of the board of directors. What we want you to talk about is your golf experience. Okay. Also, if a committee member comes up and they say, well, we want you to provide this really specific information, and we want your accounting department to spend all this time running a report, we don't do that. First thing we ask you to do is go onto our website. We have a tremendous amount of financial information available, statistical information available. We can, in most cases, the information is already available. But that's really getting beyond the scope of what this committee works on. Annual budget recommendations. So this is that time of year we ask the committee to work on their budget recommendations. We ask you to turn it in by August 30th. We ask you to force rank those, what's most important down to what's least important. In most cases, those recommendations are capital recommendations, but they don't have to be capital recommendations. Maybe the Lakes Committee is like, hey, we need more lake rangers, or we need more stocking of trout in the lakes or something. So those are not a capital item, but they might be a recommendation that the committee wants to do. Also, we want to make sure that those recommendations are realistic. Maybe the Recreation Committee says, hey, we need a new indoor pool complex that's going to cost the community $20 million. Probably not realistic. So let's be realistic with our recommendations and our expectations. But we want your recommendations, and we try, depending upon the latitude that we have with the budget, usually we're able to get, the first 1 or 2 or 3 recommendations done. Not always, but we're going to do our best. Make sure you're respectful of staff. We've had situations every once in a while where I'll talk with a staff member and they go, yeah, committee member came in to visit and 2 hours later I had to usher them out the door. That's, our staff is busy. I want you to interact with the staff. I want you to get to know Kyle. I want you to get to know Daryl. Maybe not get to know Alex, probably not. But you want to be careful not to consume too much of their time. Focus on the member experience. This is really what it gets down to, is how was your member experience? When you played golf, did you have a good time? Were you treated well in the pro shop? Did you have an enjoyable round? Were the greens true? We're not asking you to get into, hey, Kyle, what type of granular fertilizer are you using? That's not our area. We're going to let Kyle make that decision. But did you enjoy your round? That's the key. The member experience is your focus area. Use of the microphone. So these microphones are pretty good, but here's what this is what most people do. Boom, and then they sit way back here and start talking. The closer you are to the microphone, the more we're going to pick it up, and people at home that are watching this, they're going to hear it. You don't have to be up here, but like I said, the tendency is you hit that button and you go way back here, and I've watched these meetings at home, and when they lean back, you hear some of it, but you don't get the whole thing. So please, if this is a good space, if you speak from this location, that's outstanding. Any further away, we're going to lose you, and the people at home are not going to track the whole thing. And last of all, thank you for dedicating your time and your commitment to our community. Your commitment is appreciated and is very valuable. Any questions on that whirlwind tour? There will be a test later on. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. That was certainly longer than 3 minutes. All right, moving on. Let's talk about the minutes from last week's or last month's meeting. We need someone to approve the minutes from last month. Jerry, and a second. We'll vote on that. We'll all say yay. Okay, good. Everybody unanimous on that. And the first thing we really want to do here, and it kind of got out of order, but we want to welcome our new member of our Golf Ops Committee, and that is John Hauser. John, welcome, and if you want to say a few words, and we're just glad to have you on our board.
Well, thank you very much. It is an honor and a privilege to be able to join this committee, and I know quite a few of you, and I'll get to know the rest of you along the way. And like I said, I just look forward to helping this committee and help the golf situation thrive here in Bella Vista.
Great, good to have you. Really
you.
good to have you. All right, it's time to elect officers for our new season on the board. And we can start with the chairperson. If Ruth is still available, I would nominate Ruth to continue as our chairperson. Does anybody second that? Second, look, you want to vote on that, or does anybody else have another candidate they would like to put forward? We're all good on that, Ruth? Everybody vote aye? Aye, okay, so Ruth, you're stuck. Vice Chair, I have served in this capacity for the last couple of years. Is too long? Yeah. Yeah, you've already had your say. You just sit over there and be quiet now. Would anybody else like to be Vice Chair or want me to continue in that role? Okay. All right. Want to vote on that? Aye. Okay. And thankfully, we have a volunteer, sort of a forced volunteer, for secretary. And Jim Estes has stepped up to be secretary, so I'm going to nominate Jim as the secretary for this coming year. And it was second. Boy, that was a quick second. All in favor? All in favor? Aye. Unanimous. All right. So for our officers for next year will be Ruth and myself as vice chair, and then Jim Estes, thankfully, as secretary. We've already approved the minutes from last year, so now let's go to our golf facilities. The one thing that Ruth encouraged me is for next year, if you have had Country Club this year, we would like you to take on another course next year. And I'm not sure we're doing that today. I think we can do that next month. But so next month, let's be prepared to switch it around. So if you've had Dogwood, maybe you get another course. If you so let's do it. But for right now, let's just start, and let's start with Clay. And I think you have Dogwood.
Dogwood is looking really good right now. They've handled the rain very well. They take care of the traps really well. They've had some erosion on 13 to the left of the cart path. So this is already a hazard area, but now there is a pit that's 6 to 8 feet deep. I sent a picture across and said, do we need to mark this off? And I guess the answer was no, because it's not marked off. But everything else on the course is looking good. The staff is good. The carts, they're showing some wear, but they're all running.
Yeah. So
no problems there. So that's it for me.
And by the way, Clay, your suggestion of keeping carts on path only on 13, which we instituted, what, a month or so, maybe a month and a half ago, has really had very positive impact.
Looking good. Yep.
Very positive impact on number 13. So thanks for that, and thanks for the cooperation of our members for staying off the fairways on number 13 at Dogwood. All right, Jim?
Yes, I have Country Club, and shop looks good. Cart staff's really friendly. Only thing I know is the erosion on 13 around the creek, and Graham addressed that in his report.
Okay, and we'll hear more about that in the report in a little bit.
Yeah.
So I have Highlands, and obviously pretty much just the driving range and the pro shop right now.
Yep.
But both of them look really good. The pro shop staff is always amazing, very friendly. Product well represented, clean, everything looks really good. The putting greens and the chipping area all look really good. The driving range is in good shape. The only thing that I found is last month I recommended having some of the tee holders changed, that they're either broke or missing. And I went out and they're still that way. So I'd like to see if maybe we couldn't get those replaced or fixed.
Okay. And my waistline can attest that the pizza is really good still at
I
home.
just grabbed it, so I'll give it back to you.
Dave?
Okay.
It's from the mats, yes.
Kingswood and Burksdale, I was out there, and
talked with Brent, and these guys are awesome at the counter. Every time you walk into, the attitude and the atmosphere is really good. Great selection of merchandise is always in there. Carts are easy access. You walk up the door, they're right in front of you. Neat, clean. The course is in great shape. Everything is grown in, the greens, the fairways. These courses are looking as good as I've ever seen them, and I've lived here for 20 years. I think they're looking really great. So the experience is phenomenal.
Yeah, great. Jerry?
I'm Scottsdale. I've played there a couple of times in the last week. Today we played, they'd just been punched. The greens probably as good as they have been all year, even after they're being punched. I really, really think what Kyle's doing over there with those greens, and really keeping them, trying to get them where they will roll, is really working. The fairways, everything is really, really good. It shows that staying off of them in the wintertime has really been a positive. All the other courses that we did that, or the other course we did that with, the country club the fairways are awesome.
Yeah.
And the others are good, but it's just, you can tell there's a little bit of a difference. When it comes to the time, later on, we can talk about that, but maybe doing some more of that. The pro shop is always positive experience when you go in. The people in there do a great job. Megan jumps in there and works right along with them when we have a shotgun or something going on where there's a crowd. I do want to commend that whole staff out there for the 4th of July tournament, and Friends of the Highlands had there. The organization, everything was just ready to go, had no problems whatsoever that I know of. So they do a really good job with that, and it cost me $60 more yesterday because the pro shop, Kelly, with my wife, and Kelly, she jumps on me pretty quick when there's something new comes in, so they do an exceptional job there. The only thing that I have concerns with, and Kyle and I have visited a little bit about this, when we did the first work on the greens, we had some gouges from the machine that took some pretty good chunks out of some of them. And then we also, I noticed the other day when they mowed them down pretty tight on the greens, they had some little scalp marks around on the greens. I don't know if it's equipment getting worn out, whatever it is. I'd like to see us look a little bit more on that. I don't know exactly. Kyle can talk a little bit about that if he wants to, but they've had to patch some places and so on in the green, 3 or 4 greens. There was about 9 greens that were really all affected. I drove around and looked at every green to see if it did it on every one or whatever, but there's about 9 greens that it definitely had some effect on at that time. Now they've since grown in and so forth, but if it's something that we can correct a little bit on, maybe it's worn out machinery, I don't know. But that's the only concern I have there.
Okay. Maybe, Daryl, when you have your report, you could report too on tenure, because I know Kimala usually has tenured and she's not here today. The other thing I would like to say before we get to you, Daryl, is the experience, the golf experience that we have in each and every one of our pro shops. I want to commend your staff for doing an outstanding job of getting everybody situated during shotguns. It's so organized. Every clubhouse, there isn't one that's more exceptional than the other. They're all very, very good, all a great experience, and they're all very, very helpful and friendly. So I would just like to say thanks, and please pass that on from our committee to them, that they're doing a great job. Just keep doing what you're doing, because it's a fantastic experience, not only for those of us who live here, but those who are visitors that are coming from other places. So thanks. So with all of that, let's just move on to our staff reports, and we'll start with golf operate. Why don't we start with golf operations? I'm gonna switch the order just a little bit, and we're gonna start with Daryl and talk about your rounds and everything.
Ruth was more organized. This is
I understand.
stressing me out.
Well, Tom threw me off with the whole, you know, but we're good now. We're okay. We're gonna get to the end, I promise.
Got it. All good. Let's go for the round report. We ended the month of June at just over 2,300, down by 3,000 over last year. Still, it's kind of incredible to me with the golf course down. We're just 3,000 behind, which is unreal. Member rounds were up, which is great. So membership are getting tee times up by just under 1,000, and guest rounds are down just over 2,000. Year to date, we had 87,823. We're down 8,800. That's with floods and the rains, everything that's happening, and a golf course down. So pretty proud of that as we go forward. This is over last year, which everybody, I just want to, John's new to us. That was a record setting last year at 216,000 rounds of golf. So it's pretty impressive as it goes. Membership rounds are down 4,500 and guests are down 2,200. Once again, we have Highlands closed and we've had quite a bit of rain. I think Graham was telling me before he left, we had like 41 inches of rain, and when that's like year, we normally have about 45 inches. It's crazy how much rain we have had, and it impacts rounds of golf. It's great for grass to grow, but it does impact rounds of golf. We go to range buckets, we had 29,700, and we're up over last year of 6,444, and that's with Tanya getting a slow start to the year. So rounds are up, it's really cool. I'm just gonna share one stat that I dived into the numbers pretty deep, but I ran into some membership down at Birksdale, Kingswood area, and I pulled the numbers. Birksdale's 2,200 rounds over last year, which is really cool. That's 7,800. I'm the first one. I hadn't played that golf course since I was 18, and my son was this big. And we went out there last Wednesday and we played 9 holes. And Braxton, my son, was there. He's now this big at college. And we get out there and we get around. He's like, this is a track. I mean, it's a great 9-hole golf course. 3 par 3s, 3 par 4s, 3 par 5s. He gets on the 1 par 5 and he's got a pond here and a pond there. And he looks and goes, this is a tester. I like this. So we had a great time, and it's sad I haven't been out there, but the membership are enjoying it. I can see everyone's doing, and it's great to get out there and play 9 holes. So kudos to the team, and thank you for sharing the kind words of my team. They've all been around a long time, and we have meetings, and they give me a lot of input, and we get it out to the membership. I'm proud of what we got going on. So that's kind of where I am on that.
All right, now, Alex, I'm gonna skip you for a second and switch back to maintenance, and Graham is supposed to be here, but he's not, and so Kyle is filling in for Graham.
All right, thank you. So the first issue is some staff and golfer etiquette was brought up to us as a group, and we talked about it. One of the things to remember is hand watering is a vital part of keeping the greens alive during the summer. So if y'all can allow them to get their work done and then get out of their way as quick as possible, that would be great. We do realize some of the mowing we've had has been an issue. I think we've had some things said about mowers getting too close to groups and all that. And we understand that. So we've talked with our crews and tried to reiterate to let the members enjoy their experience. One thing I'll say is our staff feel a lot of pride in what they do. So they want to get it done, and with the rains we've had, we feel like we're behind. So they've really been working hard to catch up. Next is due to cost, divot sand containers at Dogwood will be submitted for approval in the 26 budget. To keep consistency with the other courses, there will be small sand containers at each par 3. Like Dale brought up, frequent rains have continued. In June, we had 10.5 inches, bringing it up to 37.5 for the year. And then since Graham wrote this, we've had more, so we're at 40. Yeah, no major flooding issues, which is great. It's just a lot of rain. It keeps the mowers in the shop, and we have to try our best to pick up at it. With that, the turf on all of the courses have continued to improve. Along with the inputs and cultural practices that we've done, we're seeing them really perform well. The tee and collar aeration was very successful at all the courses. We got one more of those hopefully to come up in August. I think as each year goes by, you'll see the improvements that makes to the tee boxes. On number 13 at Country Club, Village Wastewater is working through permitting to be able to repair that, so that creek bank that was brought up earlier. Scottsdale and Brittany will punch this week on Monday and Tuesday. Last major aeration for both of the courses. I know with Scottsdale, I'll say there will still be some holes punched, but they're going to be closed up as soon as they're punched. It's vital for oxygen to get into the root zone, maintain a proper root zone. So I'm sure all the courses do a little bit of that. It also helps with some of the drainage. With the wet weather we've had and the heat and humidity, some of the other courses have been doing a solid time to help push the water down. Otherwise, diseases and stuff would develop. And we're still working on improving green speed, trueness, and smoothness. The rains have made that very hard to accomplish. The persistent rains, you know, it makes it hard for us to mow every day like we want to, or wall every day, or both. But I will say in the last week at Scottsdale, it's been more consistent, and I've seen my numbers even out and get better. And even with the aeration, they're looking pretty good. At Tanya Creek, the flagstone walkways are installed behind the upper driving range tee mat and concrete pad, and the walkway from the building to the chipping green. And then the Highland Zoysia project, starting to see some nice progress with the summer heat. The thing to remember is it needs the heat and it needs the sunshine. So while we've been somewhat warm, it's been cloudy a lot, so that's kind of slowed it down. But I'll say from my experience at looking at it, it's where it needs to be, and it's really moving in the right track. He's been mowing it regularly, and that's going to help it continue to grow faster laterally, and he's continuing to spray fertilizers. And the last is we will evaluate the fairway coverage in late July and kind of go from there with where it needs to be sod. That's it.
Kyle, just one question on, we have had a lot of rain, and where are, maybe you could speak just to Scottsdale because that's where you're at, but maybe to other courses too. I think the courses are in phenomenal shape considering the 40 inches of rain we've had. I mean, phenomenal. But we're also noticing some higher grass in the roughs than normal, which is probably makes it more challenging and it kind of even better almost in some ways. Where are you guys in terms of keeping up with the mowing and maybe catching up to some of those areas that you couldn't get to because of the rains?
I think this week everybody's starting to catch up finally. The last few weeks we've had rain 1 or 2 times a week. And when that happens, we don't want to put the mowers out because it causes more damage.
Sure.
So we've fallen behind there, but now that with all that rain and the heat, that Bermuda's going crazy. Yeah. But we're all starting to catch up. I see the rough mowers out at the other courses every day, and I've had mine out. And I know that it's just a continuing process right now.
Does anybody else have any questions for Kyle?
Kyle, I'm not sure you'll know this one. Kingswood got punched also, I think the week earlier, and some of those punchings just got dumped onto the fringe. So normally those punches get collected and put someplace, but this time they just got dumped on the fringe. Do you know anything about that?
Yeah, so like I talked about with him trying to get some oxygen into the root zone, he did that to help out his greens. He's using his moisture meter and he's seeing high numbers. So what happened there is they blew him off and they got him into the collar, and they were in the process of cleaning it up, but then it rained. And he said that they came back later that afternoon and they took care of it.
Timing is everything, Clay. All right, Alex, let's go on to tournaments.
All right, so since our meeting last month, we had the Alzheimer's Golf Classic at Kingswood. Full field for that one, everything went well, got nothing but good reports. The Friends of Highlands tournament out at Scottsdale on the 4th, also full. I think everybody had a good time. It was a good day, nice time had by all. Our parent-child was originally scheduled for a couple of weeks ago. We got rained out on that Sunday, so they had to do a reschedule, and that's actually this Saturday at the Brittany Golf Course. Look, this afternoon looks like they have 24 kids going on, so that's a good turnout for that event.
I'm just going to say they predict rain again.
Well,
so
of course.
Jimmy's 0-2 on rains right now, and just driving him nuts.
Yeah, that's kind of happened with a lot of our events, it seems like this year. So that's what has happened. Coming up, we've got the All in the Family event at Kingswood on Saturday, the 28th. That format for that is everybody on the team must be related in some way. We've got 2-person teams and 4-person teams. Starting to get a lot of action with that, so I would encourage anyone that wants to get a family team together to sign up for that one here soon. We've got the Men's Club Championship and Senior Men's Club Championship held at Bella Vista Country Club on August 16th and 17th. Sign up is ready for that on our website. You'll see multiple flights and ages and tees, so that's not just for the scratch golfer of the group. That's for anybody that wants to compete and put up a score and try to win, you know, a flight for their handicap or age group. We got junior camp coming back. Our second junior camp starts a week from today, next Wednesday. First one was rained out or partially rained out. We only had one good day to teach, then 2 consecutive rainouts. And Saturday we tried to play a little golf and it kind of got us wet. As we were trying to get that done, so kind of hoping for a little better weather for the second go around for the junior camps. Aside from that, all of our teaching programs are coming back around for the fall. Everything is kind of in process right now for the summer. But you'll see men's Operation 36 starting kind of middle of August on Sundays. Junior Operation 36 starting Tuesdays, kind of in the middle of August there. And Hannah over at Tanyard, she's got the Futures Academy rolling along. She's got good participation in her new entry to golf programs. Good participation in the toddlers and tees, which is entertaining to watch that. And she's been working a lot with the Bentonville High School golf team as well. So things are really rolling along for that. More to come still on her ambassador program and whatnot, and trying to get a dedicated website for that Futures Academy. But so far so good. Maybe Daryl knows some more.
I do know something. I got some names submitted from our junior academy of some great kids that have proven from academics and from tournament results, and their names are going to go into the exemption list for our AJGA tournament that we have here. What that is it's a 5-star event. So to be able for a junior to play in this event, you got to have so many stars, and it's a lot. You've got to have finishes and everything, and then they get invited to come and play here. With the academy we put forward, the brand will be out there, and we're going to have 2 spots for a boy and a girl to play in it. And that's kind of exciting. So everything's leading in. I got their resumes, and I got 3 resumes, and they're really good. So pretty excited. Just want to let you know.
All the work you guys are doing with the Futures Academy warms my heart, obviously, as we have our Futures Cup golf tournament that's helped advance the game of golf to the next generation. So we're excited about that. All right, any other questions on tournaments or anything else going on? All right. Let's go on to our board liaisons. I know Bob and Jackie are here. Do you guys have anything for us?
I'll just make a comment to Daryl's comment about Burkesdale. I played that Monday morning. It is gorgeous. It just is just above where it was last year. It just looks great. And our pro shops, agree. Leslie does a great job with the staff, but Sandra is the model for any pro stuff, so anything she spends there is great. She's the best outfitted representative for our pro shop. She's great. I did want to comment, put a plug in for Daryl. I watched the In the Know. I think you did a good job on that community TV. You did a real good job on that interview kind of thing you did for golf. It was good promo.
I'll agree with that.
Go ahead, Bob.
I'm just going to say I'll agree with that. It was a good presentation. Did a nice job of that. One question I think I've had a lot of people ask me is, how much additional weed killer and fertilizer we're adding to Highlands to get it stimulated and control the Bermuda compared to what we would in a year where we weren't trying to get new turf grown?
I don't think I can really answer that. Okay. You know, that's probably more of a question for Greg or Graham, especially Graham.
Any emails from the public?
Yes, a member, testing, okay. A member, Mr. Doyle, submitted a few questions to be read.
Okay.
With all the courses we have and homes on them, why is the ninth hole at the country club the only hole with houses that is cart path only? What is the difference between number 1 and 9? Carts being in the fairway having nothing to do with where the balls and golfers are. So to me, this makes no sense, and I was wondering how we can get this changed. The carts could be restricted to fairway only and stay out of the right rough, if that makes things better to be able to make this change.
Okay.
And just to give you a quick update, so this member sent in 3 questions. We actually sent an email back, but he did request that it be read in front of the golf committee, so full transparency. But we already emailed back a response, and so there's 3 questions, but I think it's gonna be easiest if Daryl answers them one at a time. So he's gonna go and do it one at a time.
All right, good question. I've been around 15 years and watched that. I started here as the assistant professional over here, and number 9, if you remember, it used to be 18. That's how long I've been here, since we flipped it. But it was basically the slope, and it's like got hardly any dirt on it. Any rain comes, it rolls off. I remember watching players land the left side of the fairway, and they bounced past those trees. And before those homes were there was nothing there. It would just run through to out of bounds or into the long stuff. So it was taken upon, this goes back a couple superintendents before, we put carts on path there. It was kind of brought forward, let's try to put carts on path on that. Since we've done that, it has grown. It's a better path to head off, and that's kind of why it is. It's not because of the homes there or anything. It's just to keep our fairways in best playing condition we can, because car traffic kills it, and any rain just washes right off that. So that's kind of why it is. We went to it, and we've seen good results, and they're going to continue to see good results.
Okay, you mentioned there was another question.
I do, we have 2 more.
All right.
Second question, there have been many people complaining on Facebook about the availability of tee times. I understand this is not an easy thing to do, especially with Highlands closed down, but it may help people understand constraints and be more tolerable if there was more communication on tournaments and events that restrict availability. We can only book 10 days out, but if people knew 2 weeks out there were tournaments and things going on, they better understand. Now, I know you can't please everyone, and there are certain people that will always complain, but just my thoughts and what I have seen.
Oh, gee, I get to answer that one again. We're very transparent at the beginning of the year. Tee times are like gold right now, especially the prime time early ones. And in the know, I look at the tee sheets, I get spit out all sorts of numbers at me, percentages, what's been used, what membership are using, booking, and not using it. I get so much information that comes out at me. I just want to put out to the membership that be cognizant of everybody else that's trying to get a tee time. Make sure if you're going to be, cancel it in time so other people can get it. And just remember too, is you won't get your preferred tee time, especially if you wait till 4 days out, even 2 days out. It is busy. We are full with Highlands being down. I said earlier, our golf rounds are up. Last year was packed. We were so busy, and here we are, got a golf course down, and we're still trying to get it. I said in the know, I had a membership that would come in. They played 9 o'clock pretty much every day, between 9 and 10 every day. They had 2 groups that would book, and you could do it. Everything was great. He came into me and goes, I can't get those tee times anymore. But you know what? I understand it. So now they're teeing off at 1 o'clock between the twilight and their rate, and they're having just as good time. Saw him the other day. I said, how you be doing with the heat? He goes, it's got to take more ice and water, but I'm getting it. I understand with the growth and with what we're trying to improve, it comes some type of sacrifice, and that's what he said. So there are tee times available. They are out there that just might not be your preferred tee time. And once again, if you have tee times and you're not going to use them, please cancel. It's online. You can cancel or call the pro shop and we'll take care of it. Tournaments, we have reduced our tournaments dramatically from outside groups coming in as well. We've kind of scaled those down. We made a request that it had to be a certain number. Otherwise, they can't host a tournament. Back when we were growing golf, we would do the different. We'll say, oh, yeah, have a tournament, we'll be good to go. We've cut that back considerably. So that's where it is. As far as the schedule, it is online. You can go online, you can have a look. We've also got today's play that's happening out there. Not today's play, but there's like a book, a monthly book. You can get on there, you can see what's happening at all the golf courses from group play to tournaments. So that is all online for them to look at.
Okay, next.
Last one is more of a comment. He labeled, me and my wife have owned here for the last 6 years and finally moved here the last week of March. I've played golf in many places and have to be honest and say overall things here are run well. I've not experienced the slow play at times people complain about, but we have seen people doing things they shouldn't, like driving carts on par 3 fairways and tee boxes and not raking traps, trying to jump ahead of us. And I address those every time I see them. I know many people don't feel comfortable doing that, and this is why they call the pro shop, probably too often. I've seen many courses that have marshals and they are effective, but not really sure they are needed here from our experience. Once again, we have had good experiences here overall in our short time being here full-time with the leagues we have joined and people. The courses are kept well, and we really enjoy them and all the people and help at them.
Okay, I don't think that needs any further comment, but thank you for that. We have some people here that are just general public. Do any of you want to make a comment, a question, anything? No? All right, we're good. So let's go on to new business, and it says here to appoint new facilities liaisons. I guess we could do that now. It'd probably get me out of jail with Ruth since it's on the agenda. So let's go ahead. How did we do it in the past? Didn't we give out numbers? And let's table that to next month, okay? I'm just gonna cop out. I'm copping out because I don't want to do it wrong. I don't want to do it wrong. So we're gonna table that to next month. Sorry, Ruth. I failed in my duties here. But now let's talk about some budget items. These are just brainstorming ideas. This isn't anything that we're going to necessarily recommend next month. We're going to hone this in, but right now we just kind of want to get a list of 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, whatever you guys want of some ideas that you have that you would like to see them possibly include in the budget for next year. Anybody want to start? I'll start, and I'll just say, and maybe this is just an obvious, but I would like for them to continue to look at doing another course and doing Zoysia on another course next year, and having that as part of our budget for 2026. I know we're off to a slow start with Highlands, and most of that was predicated by the weather. We just really ran into it this year. I think we might even look at an idea of not closing the course quite as early as we did this year and waiting until maybe mid-April to May 1st. That would give us a little more playability on whatever course you guys choose to do that. But I'd like to make that as an official part of one of the things that we talk about for the budget.
And I've spoken with Graham and what they plan, Graham and Greg, and they plan on doing a lessons learned. I think that, first of all, we're going to let the experts, the agronomists, make the decision. But I don't disagree, delaying it probably would have been good, but also giving ourselves, it's so much easier to allot way more time and then get open earlier than what we're doing now, which is delaying the opening. So I think that's a lesson learned, and maybe we were too optimistic, but also we can't criticize ourselves because the weather has absolutely not cooperated. But yes, we're going to do some lessons learned, and I think it's going to go better the next time. And I also commend all the superintendents we're at Highlands helping out because they wanted to learn themselves. So I think it's going to be a lot easier, and then Greg's knowledge of how it went is going to be valuable going forward.
Okay. Anybody else have any other ideas? Jerry?
I'd like to see us go ahead and continue with the idea of working on the range at Scottsdale, get it up to scale with our other ranges, at least pad and so forth. I think we've got a nice little facility there, and that would really, help the experience of golf there. I think you're gonna get a lot more people go down there and just hit balls than if we've got a good, nice surface to hit off of and work. That little short range there is really, really good. That's exceptional. We don't have that at the other ones. We just got, flags out on the ranges, but that's really a nice facility. So I'd like to see us put some money there.
Okay. Anybody else?
Yeah, this one's coming from the ladies, not from me per se. There are a couple of really tough par threes in the village that are tough for ladies that are 70 and older to get across a ravine, just to where the tee boxes are.
I got you.
So I would like to look, or at least have a study of what it would take to put some forward tee boxes. Like, what is it, 12 at Scottsdale is one. That's a tough one. There's I don't know if there's an answer for some of these, but I know it's a hot topic with the women's golf groups right now.
Yeah.
So that's something for the table.
Well, both 12 and 15 in Scottsdale are challenging, no question. Yeah. They're challenging for anybody. That's good. I would like to put forward this idea, and I don't know if it goes into budget, but one of the things that we've experienced because of one course being closed down is a little more compaction, can we say, especially on the weekends in terms of the number of golfers that are on our courses. So with that in mind, and I don't think there's any great solution to that except maybe have something in the budget where we could have a marshal on those days when we know the course is going to be really crowded. When we know there's 34 groups or whatever that are out there, that we have marshals on each 9 that are paid, or however you want to do that, might maybe make that a budgetary thing to keep play moving along. Because I've noticed on some weekends where there might be a gap of a hole and a half, 2 holes between one and another, and it shouldn't be the responsibility of the golfers necessarily to always have to call into the pro shop and then they have to run all the way out. Especially like at Kingswood, if they're at the pro shop and the meltdown is on number 8, they got to go almost a mile to get to them by the time they get there. So that'd be just something I would like for us, because this is going to be an ongoing, not problem, but an ongoing issue. And I would like to see us at least have on those times, it doesn't have to be every day, and a lot of times, of course, like we played in 4 hours today at Scottsdale. And the course was pretty crowded. I don't know if we had a full tee sheet, but it was pretty crowded, and we got done in 4 hours. So, and I think most members are fine with 4.5 even is fine. When it gets to 5, 5.5, that's when you start hearing people complain. So maybe it's something we can look at as a budgetary thing while we're going through this process of adding Zoysia to these other courses.
I'd like to recommend we look at the tee boxes, leveling tee boxes. And it seems like one thing that we could do is move them from day to day, because some of them, it's really worn and the markers are right there. Move them up 3 feet, so that'll grow in, but a lot of them are just not level. They're just not.
Yeah. Anybody else have any other ideas that you've heard from your friends? I know everybody, we sit around after a round of golf and guys talk about, well, I wish we had this or I wish we had that. I know this, and thank you, Tom, thank you, board, thank you, everybody, for what you've done with Tanyard. That is an amazing facility. That is a 5-star driving range facility, and we're lucky to have it. It's really amazing. And I know our membership is really, really enjoying that a lot. Yeah, and they're using it a lot. Yeah. Yeah, we might have to budget for more range balls. Because, yeah, more robots. Anybody else have anything else? All right, so we have a list of 4, 5, 6 things here, and we will talk more about that and prioritize that list for the committees as we move forward. But Anybody else have anything else in mind? With that in mind, our next Golf JAC regular meeting is Wednesday, August 13th at 4 o'clock. Until then, we are adjourned.